spiritually unless you're aware of the spiritual laws or the physical laws. Because if you go against them, you're not moving forward spiritually. Now, I mentioned the rainbow body. I don't want to get into it. It's not my topic. I'm married to a lama, and she could explain it in detail. But a rainbow body is when you attain a high level and your body dies. Your body dies, and your body shrinks in a few days to a little body. And they call that the rainbow body because then the light leaves that body and people see it. That's what rainbow body has and does. Not many people will ever attain that or can even. And I promise you, when a person talks about it, and they're not a Buddhist Lama, they have no clue what they're talking about. If they didn't go through the initiation, which is a 3-year distant initiation, and get their okay and right to do it, it's not right. So I wrote a lot of letters to somebody already, Mr. Wilcock, and now Danny Brinkley's linking up with, he's teaching about the rainbow body with David Wilcock. And then we got Corey Good, who's teaching about Ascension. I listen to him. I listen to everything he ever did. I'm a rebel. I deal with truth that can help people, help us understand where we're going, what we're doing. Now, when they talk about ascension, Jesus spoke about it. Jesus went through it. He was the only person that did. Because basically, if you go through it, if a person attained ascension, they have 32 psychic abilities they can use at their will. And not one person on this planet has any ability close to that. So when people say they went to ascension and they're there and everything else, I say, well, do something that proves you're spiritual. Very few souls can do anything, never mind proving that they're spiritual. So now I'm trying to get that cleared because when you go into dimensions and realms, nobody gets to write whatever they want in the spiritual realm or the lower realms or the astral plane. Everything's just like school. You have to go through the schooling to get to the next level. But on the astral plane, you're not learning about birds and the bees and how to be a nice person, how not to do this and how to do that. Everything, and it's going to blow you away. I know TJ might not agree with me at all. Everything you learn here doesn't help you move forward in the spiritual realm. It has nothing to do with that when you get there. And we base our life on our 5 senses, smell, taste, touch, and feelings and things like that, which have nothing to do with the spiritual body or the astral body. When you
hey, Tommy,
let go of
I turned on your New Jersey call. I don't know if that's one of your friends, but they're live with you if you want to ask if they want to talk to you. So,
well, who's down there?
856-429. Are you a friend of Tommy's? Are you just listening? I guess they're just listening. Okay. Well, carry on. Sorry about I have animal issues with a brand new baby kitty you don't know about, but some people do. You may know. Anyway, it's about 6 weeks. And then my doggy's jealous of the cat. All right. Carry on. Thank you.
All right. So the starting point is where do you start? What are you looking for? What do you expect? And where do you want to go? Now, when you take a path, you just don't take a path and see where it takes you, because you can go anywhere in any path. Do you want to get further along on a spiritual level, mental level, physical level? Each one has its limitations or what it allows you to do. If you're just here for the physical reality, religions are basically programmed for that, telling you to believe this and believe that. When you talk about going on a quest and starting a real experience going on in your life to travel and go into the different dimensions and realms, you're going to places where most people do not go or truly understand. And I'm not saying anything I'm going to tell you is not coming from ego. Please don't believe that. I'm sorry if you think so. I've been there. I've done it most of my life. So, including death experiences and all that. So when I talk about it, I'm talking about direct experience. Past lives are all a part of this. Now, we can go in. I try not to mix too much of the UFO stuff in with with what we do today. But it is emerging, happening right now. And many people believe, which is sad, that aliens are going to be much more beneficial to us than God. And if you don't believe that, just listen to what they say, listen to what they talk about, and how aliens are going to help us. And they're going to do this, and they're going to do that. And we're in this place where, like, oh, the good aliens, I mean, they just had, last week was the week that around the world they all did meditation asking the good aliens to come surround the planet. Well, that didn't happen. But again, when people go out of their way to follow somebody else's ideas, it's usually not a spiritual path. It's usually not the right path for you. So when we start this path, it's going to be the most hardest journey, hardest things to do in this lifetime. But let me make it real simple for you. Do you want to reincarnate 1,000 times, or would you like to move on to the next realm? There's a big choice there. It's easy to reincarnate. It's hard to not reincarnate. Now, if you don't know what reincarnation is or don't believe in it, it's something you're really going to have to study and look up and learn and try to figure it out what it means and if you can adapt to it or not. Because when your body dies, you don't die. And I mean that people believe that. But what you are is critical. I call it soul. I mean, see, people mix soul with spirit. Spirit's something totally different. But we're soul. We each are individualized. I mean, this whole new programming, and it started, I'd say, maybe less than 20 years ago, about the conditioning that we're all one, and there is, like, really no God. I mean, you could believe that. You could accept that. But all I'll tell you is when you die, imagine where you're going to go and what you're going to be doing or what's going to happen. There's nothing there that would be beneficial in any level for any kind of a spiritual person. Part of all these people on this planet as an energy or connection to it. Imagine I can't name one spiritual person on this planet. I cannot. I mean, many people will say I can list the 5 quoted spiritual people on the planet. I mean, like Deepak Chopra, Eckhart Tolle, the Dalai Lama, the Pope. I mean, they're considered the top spiritual people on the planet, and they know. And I could tell you, and I challenge them to this day. I face them face to face to talk about God. They use the Pope uses God a lot. Eckhart Tolle and all the other ones do not. Buddhism doesn't believe in God. The Dalai Lama, Eckhart Tolle and Deepak Chopra talk about the oneness and being in the now. All right, that's cool, but it's not spiritual. Well, I'm connected to everybody. Is everybody living in a spiritual place right now? No. Are we living in a spiritual place? No. So when we talk about going to other realms, you have to get your act together here and now. Because if you're trying to go into a spiritual place, the vibration is too high for the body that you're using. If you're going to try to travel or move into that space, you have to start changing the vibration that you vibrate at. And you just can't say, well, I'm a higher vibration and think you're going to go in there. You have to really do it. And these people that say they're fifth-dimensional beings or sixth-dimensional beings, they have no clue what it means or how to be spiritual. And I ask you again, as we move through this today, ask yourself what you think spiritual means. I ask everybody I meet, and they can't answer it. So think about it. Think what it really means and what does it mean to you. I mean, it probably means something simple to you. Well, I'm a good person. And what's a good person? A person that listens to the government laws? A spiritual person is a person that goes beyond all ideas, all programmed ideas, reaches into an inner self to connect to the spirit, which takes him back into the sound current, which guides him to the actual vibration and truth, which leads him into what it really means and what it really is. And there's different realms. And hopefully you'll attain the astral body before you leave this reality. If you attain that and you worked off your karma, you get to stay in the astral plane. I mean, it's not a spiritual plane. Don't get me wrong. Just because you die, you don't become spiritual. Just because you die, you don't become an angel. I mean, if I quit school, do I become a college graduate? Of course not. You need to learn things, but there's not many people can teach you anything about the spiritual realm, the things you need to learn to get there. Hopefully, over the next period of time, TJ and I will open some doorways for you to understand those principles, the ideas, and the things you need to do. Nobody, no psychic, no healer, no medicine person could give you those clues the keys to open those doors. You have to find the key, and you have to open that door. They're there, and there's help there always, but if you don't know how to find the help, you're not going to get the help that you need to open those doors. And it's when I say there's different words for spiritual travelers. If you travel by yourself, you can only do that when you attain a certain level of awareness. Because if spirit works with you, it's giving you the things you need to learn, the tools you need to work with. If you go without them, it's more coming from ego and power. And you think you can do anything. You can't do anything. When you go into the astral plane, you don't even know what you're going to do there, how you breathe, how you eat, what you do, what you got to wear. I mean, all those things are so different than this reality. So when you say, well, I went to school, it doesn't help you in that plane. Be good. What's be good? If you go to war and kill somebody, that's being good to who? Your president? Your country? But is it being good to God? And all those little things have to be fine-tuned before you can move forward. Like getting back to the words I use, it's the hardest path you'll ever choose, but it'll be the most important path, and it'll be the most incredible path when you stay on it. When you start getting into the astral plane, you start seeing greater gifts that God allowed for us to have. When you attain the astral body and you're staying there, you have to realize another thing that's critical. It's only a temporary place. It's not where you're supposed to put your roots and stay. Most people believe because you're programmed to accept that when you go to the astral plane, you'll meet your family and and all that kind of stuff, which is a total story. Now, I'm going to try to, I don't know if TJ wants me to go into this or not, but when you do that, you have to realize you're separating energy, all right? Because when you say, well, I'm going to stay with people all unfold at different levels. You don't have a soulmate. Sorry, people. You can believe it and say, well, he's my soulmate or she's my soulmate. You could say it to yourself and believe it, but it's not real because when you die, you travel by yourself. You may never see that soul again. But if you hung up on karma and you pull back to this world, and so is the person you're dealing with, you meet again, if that's what you want. But when you die, realize you're going beyond the idea of the programmed ideas that you already have. Meaning, when you get to that realm, there's so many souls that are there. Now, you had multiple lifetimes. When you die, you forget this lifetime even. But if you become slightly aware, the soul can become aware a little more easier without the mind than with the mind. So when you're in the physical body, it's hard to move forward. But when you step out of the body, it's a little easier for you to understand your past lives. Your past lives mean your awareness of other lives with other families. So now, most people don't ever talk about it or explain it. If you're trying to meet a family, would you want to meet the first family you lived with, the second family you lived with? What if you were married 5 times in your last life, 10 times before that? I mean, which family do you think you want to be with? Oh, the one that I'm with now? Why? Because it's the only one you remember. You could have had incredible experiences with any of those other families. So when you think you're going to go to heaven, meet your family and then sit there and talk about whatever you think you're going to talk about forever. Good luck with that because it's not like that. You're always going to be working to attain a higher level of awareness. I always say it's like a ladder. You keep climbing up, you climb down. It's not like you can go anywhere unless you keep climbing up. So it's up to you to make these decisions when you start a path of trying to learn about realities. Now, I'm going to tell you straight out, I've been there, I've done it. So I can explain it a little more than people that are out there talking about the rainbow body. Now, I'm not talking about a high lama talking about it. I'm talking about people in the UFO world talking about things and
well,
what
Tommy,
they're saying.
Let's talk about the 7, I don't know how many levels you talk about, but there's 7 universes or 7 dimensions, 7 realms, because most people in the New Age or the Ascension Age or